Okay, welcome to our final Middle School Mondays webinar. I hope everyone has had a wonderful week, and I know we are getting ready to gear up for the last 5-6 weeks of school, and I think it would be wonderful for me to go ahead and share some of the questions that people have had, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I can see. If you have not, please go ahead and go to our Today's Meet website here. That's where our chat room is going to be, and definitely ask any questions. I posted a question in there if you hadn't seen it yet. It says, what would you like to hear about today? And I'm going to definitely talk about any questions that people have sent previously as well. Let me go ahead and jump into my PowerPoint. And this right here is exactly what I was just talking about just a second ago. So I have my link right here. I know you guys can't click on that currently, but I have put it in your chat box, and there is a QR code that you can also use. And here's me. We've talked about this before, so I'm just going to kind of jump through that. But middle school teacher for 4 years, high school teacher for 5 years. So today, some of the things that people have asked me about are Google Forms, database resources or Microsoft Access, database resources. I'm going to talk about Schoology, and I don't know why there's an S on the end of that. Sorry, little mistake. And then some marketing resources that have been submitted by another teacher in the county that you should take a look at. So first, going ahead and jumping right in to some of the questions teachers have said to me through that Google form that I asked y'all to fill out and that I gave y'all at the last webinar. How do you use Google Forms? How can I use Google Forms? Why is it easy? What exactly do you mean by it? And just tell me all about them. So I've got here a couple of links that you might be interested in. The first thing says 80 interesting ways to use Google Forms in the classroom. Well, it goes from anything from using it as an actual assessment piece to having students fill out personal information that you might need to contact their parents later, self-grading assessments, all different kinds of stuff. And I'm actually just going to show you those in just a minute. What I want to do to start with is to show you actually go ahead and jump in and tell you how to create one. I have a video that is somewhere in my resources, and it tells you all about how it's a step-by-step screencast on how to create a Google form, but I'm just going to show you just really how easy it is. So first, with any kind of Gmail, see here I have just a regular Gmail. This is not any kind of Google Apps for Education or anything, completely free Gmail account, and I have just signed in. And you're going to go to the Apps button that I'm currently pointing at. I tell my students it looks like a Rubik's Cube, and you go to your Google Drive. And I've talked many, many times about how I love Google Drive, how it is been a lifesaver really for me to use in the cloud, because as you can see here, oh well, this one tells you that I have used 13 gigabytes, but this is every single thing that I have used or that I have, everything I have, any kind of student folders, any student works, and I think that's a big part of it is that I dragged my student work in there from third 9 weeks so that it wouldn't get deleted. But anyways, so where you're going to go is you're going to go over here to this red button that is New. And you can do, this is where you can see you can do Google Slides, which is like PowerPoint, Google Sheets, which is like Excel, and Google Docs, which is like Word, Microsoft Word. And you're going to go to Google Forms. And it automatically pulls up, and you can see here it automatically gives you kind of a template to jump in there and use. And I'm going to just create one and show you how easy it is. Now, if you don't Let me go back, jump back for a second. If I wanted my Google form to automatically be saved in, say, my 8th grade folder, what I would do is double click on my 8th grade folder and then go to New Form. But since I didn't click on anything, I was just in my regular drive, there's that. Oh, I haven't even created it as anything. Sorry. Let me jump back in. Let's see, what could I make mine about? Mine might be the ticket out the door for tomorrow. And I'll always put the dates on there. And you can add an extra description that might help you. This is for 7th grade, 2nd period. Okay, so the students, or I'm going to change that just to 7th grade. So what question? Please type your first name. And then here I can actually go and choose what kind of data, what kind of characters are going to be entered. Text is going to be a small text box, and paragraph text is going to be one where they can write a long response. So I choose just text, and you can decide. There's all kinds of other settings, but I'm just going to do a very simple one right here. I make it a required question. That means they can't hit the submit button without typing in or choosing an answer. So I'm going to use, if I hit done, it would be right here, and I can add a new one right here. But I'm going to copy this one, and see, it made an exact duplicate, and I'm just going to change that word to last. So I have please type your first name, please type your last name. If you wanted to type for the students, please type your first and last name, that is completely fine, and it will allow you to do that as well. But sometimes I want to alphabetically order by last name, and so that's why I have them use 2 different questions for that. So I'm going to make sure this is required. And now I'm going to go down to the next question. So sometimes what I might add as a ticket out the door is maybe name one concept that you learned in this economics lesson. I'm just making something up here. And they might have to type in the help text is something that you can add an extra description on. So maybe I might type please type at least 2 complete sentences. And there they would have to type their sentences, and I'd make that required. I'm just going to stop there. A lot of times what I would say was, what is one concept you learned? And then the next question would be, what is something you feel like you still need more help with? And that way I can get, okay, so they got supply and demand, but they couldn't understand scarcity, or vice versa, whatever. So I'm going to say done. Okay. Now you can do little cutesy things like change the theme of the background, like the background design, and choose little cute ones. A lot of times, this is one that I chose because I think it's really cute. Or you can choose. This is the one that you might have seen from when I was needing y'all to submit information to me. So that's definitely not one. Okay, so I'm just going to choose this one. So now what do you do? How do you give it to the kids? Notice that anytime I make any kind of change up here, just like any Google Docs, all the changes are saved. So if I was to go back to, I have to hit this edit questions button. If I was to go back and do any kind of editing, I hit the space bar and type some more information. It's saving up here at the top, and it automatically saves into my Google Drive. So now I'm going to show you this right here that says confirmation page at the bottom is what it will look like to whoever takes it, whether it's, you're creating this questionnaire for students or for teachers or anything like that. Usually I say something like, have a nice day. Or maybe you might want it to pop up, student, you have completed, you may go to your next class, because usually whenever they finish their ticket out the door, they get up and walk out and can go to their next connections class. A lot of times I don't want this show link to submit another response, and because I don't want them to be able to go in and put a second and a third option in there if they think maybe they messed up. I don't want them to be able to do that. So now everything is saved and it's ready to go. What you would do is go to Send Form. Now, it is not going to actually send it to anyone. What you want is either this link or this embed code that's right here on the embed button. So what I do is I usually copy that code and hit done. And let's see, I'm going to go somewhere and check and make sure I don't have any questions so far. You guys still with me? Everybody doing okay? In my live binders, I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to a live binder and just show you how I would link this form. Just create a new tab here, and I'm just going to put sorry, bear with me just for a second. And I might put ticket out the door. And you can do this in your PowerPoint. You can do this in Microsoft Word. You can do this anywhere you can link anything. What you can do also is if you have like SmartSync or iTalk or something like that, you can shoot out the link to them. But I'm just going to highlight this. And just like you would right-click in a PowerPoint or right-click in Microsoft Word and choose Hyperlink, I'm going to paste in that address, that web address that I just, or that link that I just copied, and hit OK. And I'm going to show you when I click the link, it takes me straight to that ticket out the door. And right here you can really click in it, type in it, and then the kids, now notice because it has that star on it, it is a required field, and the students or whoever using this has to type some kind of response. So if I hit submit, it won't let me because I have to type something in there. This is what I get sometimes. I did not learn anything. So I'm going to hit submit, and it tells them have a nice day, because that's what I typed in on the confirmation page. So now I wanted you to see this is where we created the form, that template. I'm going to close that, and I'm back in my Google Drive in the internet. So notice, remember I told you at the very beginning, I didn't actually choose any kind of folder for my ticket out the door to go in, so it automatically just went into my main Google Drive. What is amazing and wonderful about using Google Forms is anytime you create a form, it automatically creates a Google spreadsheet. And I'm going to double click on that for where the responses go. So this is, I didn't even do anything. Y'all saw every step that I did. I didn't even do anything as far as creating this spreadsheet or making it look pretty or different design. It just automatically dumps that information into these spreadsheet fields. So I'm going to, just to show you, I'm going to wrap this text so you can see that it's exactly what I typed in. And now this has never happened to me before, but I'm going to, oops. Kind of move that over so now it's in the correct order. I'm not sure why it was in the wrong order, but you can see my first name, last name, and the concept that you learned in this economics lesson. That's the question that I typed in, and exactly who wrote that response. It's also a timestamp so that you can kind of keep up with when your students filled that out and when they submitted their information. It could also let you know if they're doing their work from home that they submitted it last night versus the next morning if they were supposed to have submitted it by midnight or whatever time. And I really have used this form and spreadsheet and showed my principal. They said, someone asked me, how are you using assessment tools in your classroom, and then how are you using the data that you get from your assessments in reteaching, or how are you improving your instruction based on this data? Now, remember, data does not always have to be numbers. Data could be anything that is giving you checkpoints, formative snapshots of what do the students know, what do they not know, what do you still need to touch on, and what do you need to reteach to them. So I really did use it. One example was when I was teaching 6th graders how to change the colors of their pie charts in Microsoft Excel. And they all typed that they really didn't know that they could use, the fill handle, and they really liked that. But probably 80% of them put one concept that they still need more work on, was that they didn't understand how to change the individual pie pieces of a pie chart. And I thought I did a really good job on that. So I used that, and I would not have even retaught it. I would have said everybody good, and they would have all said yes, because they always do. And I would have been able to reteach it the next day. So Cassie said, do I take a grade on their tickets out the door? If they don't answer, what do you do? I honestly have never had students not answer at all. And I'm walking around the room. Okay, this is for other teachers, like maybe math teacher, science teacher, when they give homework. I don't really give homework because I do find that it doesn't get done from home, and I also can't expect that every student has a computer and internet access at home. So I give it in the last 5 minutes of class. I'm walking around the room. I'm, kind of prodding them. Go ahead, come on, you can do it. What do you not know? And I really haven't had any issues with them not doing it. I definitely do not do a ticket out the door every day. I really just use them for how are we getting along, what are they learning, especially for those tough topics like accounting and economics, maybe networking, things like that. So I really, really enjoy using Google Forms in my classroom. I love them. And so you see how long that really took me to create one and then to get this link. Whatever you're doing, it could be that you have a Word document that's in your network folder that your students could access, and that you can use tinyURL and create a tiny URL out of it. And tell your students to go to it. Whatever it is, however you could point your students to it, you could use Remind 101 and send it to them that way, things like that. So I had a lot of, 3 out of the 5 responses that I got for questions or things that you wanted me to talk about were Google Forms. So this second link right here is actually from Google about how can you use Google Forms with your students? How can you create quizzes, forms for teachers? So one of these that I saw said lunch count. So having your students just, decide what they're going to, if they were going to have lunch that day or not. Different kinds of ways to use it as a quick write, because we're trying to incorporate all this literacy into our classrooms, trying to help our students get ready for Georgia milestones in accordance with the other literacy standards that we have. So Google Forms for administrators, you could use that for your daily behavior sheet if you needed to use it in your own classroom. You could use it for your formative assessments as you're walking around the room, maybe on a tablet or just on your own teacher computer. So different ideas that you can use. Let me close this. And I'm going to close this to get out the door as well. Okay, Demick is a major blog for educators about technology, or about all kinds of stuff, but specifically about technology as well. And I really like 5 great ways to use Google Forms. And of course, this is going to be in your classroom. And while we're waiting for it to come up, I'm going to go on to the second most requested topic, which is databases. So what should we do for databases? Okay, sorry, let me jump back for a second. My Demick finally came up. 5 time-saving ways teachers can use Google Forms. Bell ringer and exit ticket activities. That's actually how I got started with using Google Forms, because I really was just at a loss for the TEKS standards. How could I really show that I use my data and assessments in my classroom to guide my instruction? Also, you see, you could use it for homework, some kind of surveys, and for also rubrics. I do have an example for student rubrics, but I'll have to show you that in a few minutes. Okay. So, databases. How do we teach? And I refer to databases using Microsoft Access, because that's just what I have access to, and that's what I have always taught, was Microsoft. So that is what I'm going to talk about a little bit today. Okay, so the first one does say Access 2007 tutorials, but it still is a really great tutorial program or intro, and you always could alter it or change it for your needs. Currently, what I do for Microsoft Access is I used Screencast-O-Matic, and I screencasted myself while I was teaching the students how to create a database, how to save it, how to create a table, add records, create a form, an easy query, and a report. And my 6th graders can watch this screencast, and they can walk themselves through it and have very minimal issues or questions, really. They really do a really good job of it. But that can get a little bit monotonous if they've already done that. They've already done a screencast for Excel. Maybe you want to try to switch it up or something. So I am just going to show you this. It's called Function X. And you can see here that while it does go through, it talks about some of the basics of Microsoft Access, but really just Microsoft products. You can see, yes, it is 2007, but I think it's close enough that you could get screenshots and information and help your students out. So, talks about some of the different parts. I'm going to go back to maybe different introduction to tables. So it talks about what tables are used for, and if nothing else, this is open source. It has ideas of topics and records that you can use to, here's field names that you could use to create your own screencast or create your own handouts for your students, and then have them do it using Microsoft Access 2010 or 2013, whichever you have. But you see here, you have your records they've provided, you have your field names, and here it just talks about different content, and you can use this for an extra resource for vocabulary possibly. Here you see there are example databases. Creating reports. Yeah, I just clicked on an ad. So That is the first one. That is Function X, and they do have FunctionX.com does have other topics such as Excel, Publisher, and I'm going to actually try out the Publisher in the near future. But I really like FunctionX, and I'm going to start using it pretty soon. The next one is called DataPig Technologies. And this one is specifically about Microsoft. And so you can see here, these are access reports, tips and techniques, and here so this is actually a screencast, and while it's not like I said, it's not 2010 or 2013, but this person goes through and talks about different tips and tricks that we might need, that you might be interested in, or if nothing else, that you can use as additional materials. So if I go back to the home page, DataPig has all kinds, live trainings, different tools. They have Excel, and different access videos as well. Under Excel, they have all kinds of different cool things that you can do as well. Okay, and that is DataPig. Also, I found some projects, and this is on the Skinner website, business website, and I previously talked about this one, but this is actually a handout that you can use, and I thought it was pretty cool because you're using Amazon.com to find different movies that you might be interested in, and then you can record those movies in, here gives you the field names, and then it tells you what kind of data types to use, but it's not as step by step, so you would have had to at least go through a very basic, maybe this might be for your 7th graders and they've done a very basic one as a 6th grader database, that is. But it's a good idea, tells them what kind of stuff they're looking for in their query, and you know, what they can do. So also this is their recording, like they could write down what movie, how many stars it has, check things off, that they can handwrite or they can type in, and then they can use it for typing in their records later. So I thought that was a really cool project. And I don't know where I got that one. I think I got that one. Oh yeah, that one was from the Skinner website. And same thing, BT Skinner. This one was 25 most wanted CDs, music CDs, from Mrs. Cubbage. And this one also talks about artist, title, record company, that kind of stuff. Students will really love this because they don't necessarily have to they can still, they obviously are, even if they don't buy CDs and they buy MP3s, they can still look up the albums that the artists are putting out, and my students would really love this. So goes through, tells you exactly what to do and what you're supposed to do to get the certain points you need to get that. I might edit mine, and because I don't have my students print pretty much anything in class, but they do go through the processes of looking at the print preview. They just don't actually print stuff, so I might change some of these words. But that actually is a document that you can download from the link. I'm going to skip the next one, which says Applied Educational Systems. I'm going to show you that in just a second. But I'm going to look at mpix.net. I have looked at this one and showed this one before, and I know a lot of teachers in my county really liked mpix.net because first you can choose any of the different software years, and I know like in my in my county we have 2013, and so then you can look at these and they can be in pictures. Some of my students, like I said before, would do anything to just be able to listen to their music on their personal device instead of listening to a video. But they still want to see the pictures. They just don't exactly know what I'm saying in my screencast videos. So this could be a way to alleviate that. So open access, and it tells them it should look like this. And it tells them and highlights, circles things that they're supposed to be doing, which one to click, and they can just walk themselves through using these pictures. They also can go to tables, forms, queries, reports, and notice whenever I showed you this that, I can get back to home, they Google Docs, Drive, Sheet, and Slides, and PowerPoint, Word. It says Office 365, but I haven't really tried out any of the 365 on this, but you can see all the different levels that you can go through. And remember, this is open source, so it is free to use. You don't have to sign in. In fact, I don't even feel like I've seen a way to sign in, so that's good. You don't have to enter your email address or pay any money at all. Okay, so now one that has been talked about a lot, I'm not sure if you guys use GCF Learn Free.org, but this is an amazing, amazing resource, and they are adding more stuff every day. They are adding and updating their videos. I really love it. You can see here just from their homepage that they have everyday life, just technology, but what you're going to really want to go for if you're looking for Access or any of the Office products is Microsoft Office section. And now you can see they have actually added Access 2013. Previously they didn't have that, they only had 2010. And if you go to any of these 2013 sections and notice that maybe they're a little bit lacking or they only have 1 or 2 videos, definitely jump back to the 2010 because those are very much completed. And like for instance Publisher 2010, they don't have a 2013 yet, so that's the one that I still use. But if you went here, Access 2013, you can see here there's a video about Office 365 and Intro to Databases and Intro to Objects. I make every single one of my students watch these 2 videos, number 3 and number 4, right here that you see, before when they're 6th graders, 7th graders, and I don't really do it for 8th graders, but 6th and 7th graders, they have to watch it. Even though they watched it as a 6th grader, they have to watch it again as a 7th grader to remind them what is a database and what are the different parts such as table, query, report, form, why they're used, some everyday real-life examples of how they're used, and they're 3 minutes or so, and then you can actually go through, and they've really done a good job completing this one, talking about the different, and they even have quizzes down here at the bottom, but they go through and they talk about how to work with tables, how to work with forms, and the good thing that I really like is that if you go to any of these, if I was to click on this one, you can see here's the video that goes with it, but there are words that go with it, and I have students who opt to read the actual information as opposed to listening to it. The information and the words on the website definitely go into much more detail, and they can have pictures. There are pages of information, and I think it breaks it down really well, and the students really enjoy GCF Learn Free. There are definitely other topics that you can go through and different pieces of information that teachers can download for their lesson plans. Okay, so now I'm going to go to one that's called Applied Educational Systems. and show you a really cool thing that I just found in the past couple days. Okay. Now, this currently is a trial, and it's only a 30-day trial. I don't know how much it costs, but oh, there's a there's a thing right there that says how much does it cost. But I just want to show you some options that you have, especially if you have the opportunity to spend any money on any kind of curriculum next year. So modules that you can set up, let's see, we can go through and look at Microsoft Word, but actually let's look at Access since that's what I got it for. So we have, you can set up your course and you can only make it for 6th graders and use the most basic Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Access information, or you can make it more difficult with a lot more details and records and whatever you want to do. Students can have access, and I can review this course as a student and see what it would look like as a student. So as the student clicks, hopefully, it'll take them in and do a tour. And also it'll show you how much the students have completed, what part they're on. Hopefully you'll be able to hear this. Okay, so it walks you through every single step. Videos, I liked how it was, and this is specifically geared towards middle schoolers because that's how I set my account up whenever I very first started. But I like how it talks about Facebook, something that's really relevant to the students. Students use it, but talking about how Facebook actually is a database and really could put that in perspective for the students. I'm going to go back and show you something that is really, really cool. Sorry, I'm having to organize my stuff in the background. Course setup. Now, I can go to courses. I chose one and already started one that was 8th grade, and you'll notice some of the different content that they have. Office fundamentals, if you wanted your 8th graders to review that, business law, accounting, marketing, management, professionalism, web research, job-seeking skills. So I was like, what would this encounter or what would this entail? And so looking at maybe the accounting cycle, might be a lot of stuff, but let's see the overview. Like, what's the accounting equation? And you can see it downloads it provides a PowerPoint that you can go over with your students. And it talks about the accounting equation, different things that you could go over as far as discussion topics, credits and debits. All of this is very specifically in our GPS standards for business for 8th grade. So at least for right now until we know any different. So I thought this gives you examples, talks about assets, liabilities, owner's equity, different things that we're supposed to be talking about to our students. And I'm going to show you what it would look like as a student going through and maybe looking at the account overview. So I wonder if it'll let me move on to the next, just to see. This is the one where it wouldn't let me unless I went all the way to the end and answered the question. And it says, would you be willing to help me save my business the only options are yes, but of course, and then you can do next. And so it walks the students through, and I did like some of the, the students can go through and see the objectives. They can look at different interviews. It lets, you can see their progress as you go through through this as well. It also goes through the accounting equation, and I really liked this because it showed me business law, which is really what we are focusing on. Contracts, torts, maybe business ethics might be interesting to us. Choices and consequences, that's something that students definitely need to know about. Sources of law and court, well, specifically sources of law is definitely in our standards, our GPS standards. And remember, you can pick and choose if you wanted to, do something like this. You can pick and choose exactly what lessons the students received. We had marketing here. And then the different principles of marketing, you can go through and see different options. So I thought that was a really cool site. Wanda said that she has been using this almost all semester. They added time on the trial as she used it. Yes, I received an email from just today. I just signed up for this yesterday or maybe the day before, and they sent me an email and they say, hey, as soon as you sign up any students, you will get more time added to your trial period. And I just went to a vendor meeting today about some other Easy Tech software for the county, and they did some of the same things that these did, but this would really encompass all 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. Now maybe I'd have to use a little bit of supplemental other resources, but this definitely would cover a lot of the standards. So I'm going to talk quickly about Schoology, but before I jump to that, I'm going to just show you that on this slide, marketing resources provided by Sherry Jeffers in Lumpkin County, taste test marketing project, and then a different marketing lesson. This marketing lesson is at least, it has different days split off, and she sent it to me in an actual email, so I put it into a Word document so that you could see day by day, and you actually could break up different parts and use it, them standalone if maybe you didn't have enough time. The taste test marketing project is awesome. Please definitely go take a look at these. They are amazing. She said students were just absolutely loving it. So please go look at these different links. And now I'm going to go back to Schoology for a minute. I don't know how many of you guys have student emails or your students were provided county, like emails through your district or your county, but I have been a huge, major proponent of using Edmodo. And I absolutely love Edmodo. I don't have anything against Edmodo really, except for the fact that Schoology, for me, for what I've been doing, is better. Because, now if you don't have student emails, then Schoology might be a little bit definitely would be difficult for you because you have to use student email accounts for them. But it's the same idea as Edmodo. It's a learning management system. It's free, and I'm going to show you just a little bit of what it can do. Is there anyone who actually uses Schoology? Type in the chat box, if you would. And one of the reasons that I even thought about going a different direction from Edmodo is because, first, I like to be very organized. I like to put things, my information, and my assignments in a specific order so that I can cut out as much confusion for my students to work student-centered, student-directed learning. I want them to be able to sit at that computer and know what they're supposed to do, how to turn it in, and then what to do next without having to ask. Now, of course, they're going to ask, and that's fine, but I want to try to cut out as much confusion for my students as possible. And Edmodo only lets me put my assignments in they have to work from the bottom up, and it puts the most recent stuff at the top, and I don't like that. And then second, I feel like I have to have an alternate website to house all my resources, because Edmodo won't let me put my files on there in the format that I want. I want my videos to be MP4s, because that way it doesn't matter what browser the students are using, and it will only let me put it on there as a QuickTime video, and QuickTime is not updated in my county. So all that being said, I hadn't had anybody. Is anyone using Schoology at all? Maybe. So I'm going to show you how I set this up, or what kind of stuff it can do. I'm going to start. I'm in the teacher account, and you can see, I'll show you for my 7th graders. It lets me put the different assignments in there in whatever order that I want to. And I also have folders. I can create, I have a folder in every single in every single class that is how-to videos. And in the how-to videos, I can put, intro to Schoology, how to turn in an assignment. It stays there. It stays at the top every single time. The students never have to go and look through. I have a folder that says class-approved websites. The students can see exactly which websites are allowed, and those are the only ones they can get on if they finish their assignments early. So I have a computer basics for 7th graders that they do a review on hardware, software, parts of the computer, keyboarding, internet safety, all this different stuff, ergonomics, things like that. And so it has a lot of videos that go with it and other stuff. So I created a folder for this assignment, and it has instructions, and then it has some videos that they're supposed to use. Here I can add, if I wanted to add a test, I can add a page that just could be information that talks about things that they're supposed to do, but it wouldn't actually give them a button to turn anything in, so they wouldn't be confused. Add a media album, that could be lots of pictures. I haven't really gone through every single thing, but add a package, I don't know what that is yet. Add files or assignments. One thing that I absolutely love is that it allows me to, let me just go ahead and show you. Well, before I get out of my teacher account, just like Edmodo does, you have a grade book. You can see students' names, what scores. You can type in, you can do all the same annotating. You can set up categories in your grade. You can do attendance. You can do badges, just like in Edmodo. And you definitely can attach most of the same apps, just like I talked about earlier in this webinar series. So I'm going to sign out just for a second and show you my student account. Now, I'm not telling everybody go out and change everything up, but we are starting a new school year, and I'm definitely going to be using Schoology. Now, every single thing that I have done is completely free. What I like right here is that this is a student account. As soon as they log in, they see over here on the right, here are upcoming assignments. Here are things that are overdue or late, or things they've turned in. They can see their grades and their attendance. I haven't really, this is my fake student, so I haven't really done a lot in it, but you can see right here when their assignments are due, they pop up right here. You also, if you have a Google Calendar, you can upload your Google Calendar, but what I found is that it would, when I uploaded my Google Calendar, it made double entries on some of these, so it wasn't perfect. But so let me show you. Here's what I was going to tell you. This is one thing that I love. So for risk management, I gave the students, here's their assignment. And it says they're going to click the submit assignment button, which is usually right here, and they are going to click the create tab. Let me just show you how that works. sorry. They went to an assignment, they can go to just the Submit Assignment button. And just like in Edmodo, they can attach a file right here, or they can go to the Create tab. And here they can type notes, and that's what I had them do for their risk management assignment. They they listened to a 1-minute MP3 about what is risk. And they took notes on important information that they heard and what risk is. Then they read an article that was about proactive versus reactive risk management and how a firefighter can be as proactive as possible, but then sometimes still has to be reactive, and on and on. So they take notes in this word processor right here, and then they can they watched a video about the Challenger space shuttle, and not only is that some science, because they actually are doing rockets at my school in their STEM in math and science. It also talks about history and things that have happened in the past, and they can talk about how scientists are now approaching that risk of sending actual real humans in there, and you only get one chance, and how are they assessing what is the lowest risk possible to send astronauts up into space and whatever. So another thing that's really cool is that they can type all their notes, hit Save Draft, come back to it the next day. They just hit Edit. They come back to it, continue typing, and then when they're done with their assignment, they can hit Submit, and it goes to me, and I see it on my end as the teacher, and it just comes up looking like a regular old Word document. And they actually haven't had to get out of anything. They can really do this from home, don't need anything but internet access. And the thing that I put on here, I have an iPad at home, and I used the iPad app, and it works amazingly. You can use that little Submit Assignment, that little Create tab, you can use it as a blog posting. Students can post it like a blog, or you can do it as a super short ticket out the door. Hey kids, here's your ticket out the door. Send it to them like an assignment. They can hit Submit, and they could type it up, turn it in, and you can just go through and grade them all. Now, I will admit that it's definitely a lot easier to read a spreadsheet of tickets out the door, like that Google form, but you definitely could do it. Maybe you could do a longer writing assignment, 1 or 2 sentences, 5 sentences, whatever you want them to do. So for me, I really like Schoology because y'all know I'm a neat freak, and I can't help but really, oh yeah, that's another thing. I used it, I needed them just to follow some instructions. I'll just show you. I needed them just to follow instructions. I didn't want them to turn anything in. I didn't want them to write anything like that blog or anything like that, but I just wanted to give them some instructions, because at my school I am the person who does Georgia College 411 with 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and they do it during my class time. So I just needed them to follow instructions. This is what they'll do. Here, if you're a new student to the county, follow those. If you're an old student, follow those. Here's the link. Gives them information, and they don't actually have to turn anything in, but they have these set instructions online and easy to access for them. And like I said, I love it because I can put it in whatever order I want to. But back to the app, I don't know if a lot of y'all had any problems if you ever used the Edmodo app. I tried to use Edmodo app on my iPad, and it used to work great, and then all of a sudden it will only allow me to use it if the iPad is portrait. It won't let me use it if my iPad is vertical. And I've done everything, and I've Googled it, and it just makes me want to lose it. And so my iPad with Schoology works amazing. And so that is probably what I'll be using, because I love my iPad. Any lab binder resources that you might need. Oops, I forgot to change this last slide, but this is our last webinar. I only had one person contact me at all about any information that they were interested in doing anything extra to get a PLU. So I don't know. There was one person, and I will contact that person back about PLUs and let you know what you need. And the last thing I want to talk about, one other question that was asked to me from teachers is, what are you going to do during Georgia Milestones when you're kicked out of your computer lab? Because it's going to happen. It is happening. We don't have any way to get around it due to testing requirements. And I'm going to send you a link right now sorry, you're looking at my email account, but this is where that link is. Sorry. This was sent by Kathy Murray. She's one of my cohorts in my county. She's the bomb. And I'm going to send this link to you. She said these Georgia Public Broadcasting videos are amazing. Let's say you get displaced and you've got to go somewhere else to another, I'll put it in the other chat box too. You've got to go to a classroom and you don't even have any computers because they're all being used. That you should try this website. She said the videos are amazing, and they have all different kinds of topics. So that's a good tip and topic. If you guys, if you can, I saw Mary said 2 teachers from Hubert wants PLUs. If you want PLUs, if you actually could email me your name so I can have your email address, and I will blast out to those specific teachers who want it, so that everybody doesn't get the information if they don't need it or if it's not necessary. I'm going to put my email address right here just in case. And I really thank you guys for being here with me and attending. I know that it wouldn't even let me post it a second time. And I appreciate y'all being here with me, and good luck to you over this next SLO period. And let me know if you have questions or comments, or if I can do anything for you to help your business teacher journey be smooth. I will do anything I can to help you. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now, and let me know if you have any questions.